Hi, I have a fun project today. I'm making a knitting basket or just like a fabric basket for yarn and stuff. It has a circular bottom base, so you need something that's round. I've used a tray, then I'm marking around a piece of my fabric, marking around that tray, and then just cutting around that with a scissor. That is a simple way to do it if you're not good at maths and stuff like that. So then you need to measure around your tray or your round object. And again, there are maths ways of actually calculating this, like circumference and width. I don't even know what it's called in English, so I'm sorry, and I was never good at that part of math. So I'm just using my measuring tape, and that is fine enough. So I'm first measuring how high I want the basket to be, and then cutting a piece there of the rest of my fabric. That's the height of the basket. And then I'm using that measurement that I got from before and then measuring how wide I need my piece of fabric to be to go around that circle. And I'm just giving it a couple of extra centimeters just for seam allowance, and then I can always adjust that later. But it's annoying to have sewn it all onto it and then the width to go around your circle is not big enough. So I always give it a little bit extra. And then I want an extra layer on this yarn basket, so I'm making another piece that is like lower than the first piece, because then it can act like a pocket. And that was my hand, yes, and I'm making that the same width as the first piece, of course. And a clever girl, a less impatient girl, would have serged, overlocked or zigzagged all her ends here. I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm just closing up the ends that's going to be facing up on the basket. So I'm doing a double fold, folding it once, folding it again, and then doing a stitch there, because that's a really pretty way to finish off raw edges so they don't fray and they look nice. But all the other edges, they really should have been serged or zigzag stitched, definitely. I was just busy, and I just wanted to get on with this project and see if it actually worked. So I couldn't be bothered to do some zigzagging, which was, not clever. Doing it again on the other one, a fold, and then stitch. So it's really easy. Double fold and stitch. And you can do it also the other way. So you have an inside out technique where you actually take the back side of the fabric and turn that towards the front and do the two folds there, so you have a contrast facing out. That's also a way to do it. But now I have the two pieces of raw edges actually done, so they're going to look nice. That's the top layer and then the outer layer. And you could have also made some vertical stitches now to keep those two kind of together, but I just went right ahead and started with a circle. So I'm adding the circle to those two layers of fabric, and I'm not going all the way to the edge of those two layers of fabric. I'm starting a couple of centimeters in because I want to have something to stitch those two layers together with later. So I'm just following the circle, and I'm sorry that you can't see it properly with this angle, but maybe you can see it a little bit as it gets more and more done, that it's kind of rounding, and then at least you can see it in a moment how I've actually done it. So that is the round bottom layer, and then we have the two sides, or the four sides actually here, and I gave it a couple of extra centimeters seam allowance, and you can see that it actually turned out a little bit too big, but hey, it's much better than too small. So now I'm going to stitch that so where it actually fits. I'm going to stitch that closed, because then I can just do the last bit of sewing the last bit of the circle of the base onto the sides afterwards. But at first I just need to finish that properly, and I'm also going to be cutting that excess fabric off. Yes, that's probably pretty much the amount of extra fabric I gave it. And then I'm stitching it onto the circle so it is done. And then it is just turning it out to front. And of course you could have also waited and then done those raw edges now instead of when I did them. That could also have been a way to do it. But I want some baskets on this, and for the basket, I want some handles on this basket. Yes, for the handles I want to use PabFab because it's such a fun material. It's fake leather, cardboard, weird but shiny, so I like shiny. So I've made these two rectangular pieces and just folding them so they go up in an arrow, and then I'm just stitching it on to one side of the basket. I'm stitching it on from the back, and then there's something that I can carry it in, and when it's standing up full of yarn, it looks nice. I'm going to do the same with the other one, folding it into an arrow like this, and then I'm going to find the middle of the other side. Yes, so I know that they're kind of on perfectly on each side of the yarn basket, and this will look so good, having containing all my yarn projects, some knitting needles in the sides. You know, if you have some little books, knitting books, you can also put them in the first pocket. So it's just a really cool make. I'm very happy with it, and I hope you can use this, maybe not for a yarn knitting basket, but then for just that technique when you actually want to have a round base, because this is definitely a way of doing it. Even if you don't like maths, or if you're not good with calculators or your mind, then you can just draw and measure and it can still be fine. Thanks for watching, and if you give this video a like or subscribe to my channel, of course, I'll be ever so happy, and hope that you'll be watching again some other time. Bye!